New Jersey will ask for $19 million from a federal fund to help pay for projects to reverse some of the environmental damage from a 2004 oil spill that fouled the Delaware River for weeks. As environment correspondent Ed Rogers reports, the request comes as part of a federal assessment of the impact of that spill.
When the Athos 1 tanker hit an abandoned anchor buried at the bottom of the Delaware River in November 2004, more than 263,000 gallons of crude oil spilled into the waterway. It was one of the worst accidents ever on the river. An assessment of the natural resource damages caused by the spill was released this week. Officials estimate that more than 11,000 swans, geese, ducks, and other birds were directly or indirectly killed by the oil. More than 3,600 acres of shoreline along the river and its tributaries were also oiled, along with 400 acres at the bottom of the river. The loss in dollars for the recreational use of the river, $1.3 million. Federal and state officials have now released a list of projects totaling $24 million to help restore the river. New Jersey is proposing $19 million in projects. The money would come from the Federal Oil Spill Liability Trust Fund, which is paid for by a federal tax on the oil industry. But will the projects address the long-term damage from the spill?
It's a good question, and all we can do is do the surveys of the damage, try to quantify the areas that were impacted and the scope of the impacts to those various resources. It's not a super precise method, but it really represents our best ability to try to get a handle on what the impacts were.
Some of the projects include creating and improving grasslands and wetlands along the Delaware Bay in Salem County and creating 51 acres of oyster habitat.
The functions of wetlands have been well documented for a long time in terms of habitat values for the ecology, the food chain. The oyster restoration is a key component of the ecology of the bay in terms of not just the habitat it provides for different marine organisms, but also the functions that oysters provide in terms of filtering water.
The actual cleanup of the spill cost more than $150 million. If the Coast Guard, which oversees the Oil Spill Trust Fund, approves New Jersey's plan, DEP officials say it could be one of the state's largest natural resource damage settlements. State and federal agencies will take public input on the proposal until February 20th. Ed Rogers, NJN News, Trenton.